everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to today's video. We are going to be doing a Q&A and I'm kind of nervous because I don't really know what all of the questions are, and as usual in my Q&As we're just gonna go through everything very casually, very hanging out vibes, and I'm gonna be super honest in all of my answers and just like overshare and spill the tea, and that's that. Today's drink is matcha, keeping in line with the green theme. I clearly went very green. I think green is my new favorite color. And also I've been listening to music from the School of Rock last night and this morning, and it's really been putting me in a great mood. Very like spring, let's take action kind of mood. So that's kind of the behind the scenes of my day. If you want to get in the same mood as me, put on some School of Rock music after you watch this video. And without further ado, let's get into this Q&A. So I posted on Instagram asking you guys to send me questions, and we got, oh my gosh, we got a lot. So I'll try and cover as much as I can, and I'll do the rest on Instagram. So I also asked you guys for juicy questions because this video is actually sponsored by Bellesa. If you know what that is, then you know. And if you don't know, I'm gonna tell you guys a little bit later, but thank you Bellesa for sponsoring this video. It's super exciting, the partnership that I have with them. So yeah, we're gonna talk about them in a little bit. Okay, perfect. We're gonna start off with an easy question, favorite books and why. So I will tell you guys about two of my favorite books that I have read-ish recently. Now, I feel like reading is really trendy right now, and there's like a really Colleen Hoover. Let's just say Colleen Hoover. I'm not a Colleen Hoover girl. I hate her books. I'm sorry, they're really bad. I like to read all kinds of things, but my favorite books, and the two I'm going to talk about, are very like human stories. So the first is called Fall on Your Knees. I'm looking at it right now. It's by a Canadian author. It's by Anne-Marie MacDonald is her name. Takes place in Canada's East Coast, and it's a story of, it's an incredible story. It's very dark. It's very sad. But it's so gripping, and it goes between like kind of past and present, but it's set in like a long time ago. I don't remember when it's set. I'm doing a terrible job explaining this. Anyways, Fall on Your Knees is an incredible story. Like every sentence in that book is a work of art. So it's really like a sit down and like read it. It took me a long time to get through it, but it's incredible. My next favorite book is called She's Come Undone, and it's by the author Wally Lamb. I've spoken about this book in videos before, but it is the story of a girl from her like youth, from her childhood all the way to growing up and like becoming a woman. And this girl's life is just so sad. So many things happen, but again, it's like a very human story, taking you through all these years, and it's just like amazing. And the craziest part about that book is it's written by a man, but his understanding of like what a woman goes through and the thoughts that she has are just like incredible. So I will write the names of both of those books down below if you're looking for something to read. They're incredible stories, like simply incredible. I have read She's Come Undone, I think 3 times, and I've only read Fall on Your Knees once, but I'm definitely going to read it again, probably in a couple months or a year, because they're just these books that like the more you read them, the more you get out of it, because they're so well written. Like I can't say enough good things about them. Next question is from Miriam. Hi, Miriam. If a crystal ball could tell you the truth about anything, what would you want to know? This is such a good question, and it was one of the first questions that came in, so I kind of thought about it a little bit, and at first I was like, oh my gosh, I just don't know. I really don't know like what I would want to know the truth about. I feel like it's nice for life to be a surprise, but it's kind of sad, my answer. And this is like a really true, honest answer. I think I would love to be able to look in a crystal ball and just tell me like, am I gonna be okay? Like, I think, and people with anxiety can probably relate, is like, you kind of have this looming fear that like something bad is gonna happen to you in the back of your mind. Like, am I gonna lose my job? Am I gonna lose my house? Am I gonna like be on the streets? Like, I don't know, those are welcome to my mind. Obviously, like, I don't think about those things every day, but it's like in the back of my mind, this constant feeling of like being on edge and not always feeling like secure. And so I would love to just like be able to look into a crystal ball and have it tell me that like everything's gonna be okay. And then for that to like allow me to go through the rest of my life at peace. And the flip side of that is like you can already do that because you are gonna be okay. And like when you're in a state of like trusting yourself and trusting the world or God or the universe, whatever, like you know you're gonna be okay. So I wouldn't really need the crystal ball, but yeah, it would be so nice to like concretely be like, Zoe, everything is fine. Everything's fine. Stop worrying about everything. Crystal ball, can you tell me that, please? Okay, this is a good question. We're gonna jump into the juicy stuff now. First question is from Nessie. Got my gift card from Bellesa. What's your favorite item? I swear, you guys, I did not plant this question to integrate the sponsorship, but it couldn't have been more perfect. So what is Bellesa? Let me tell you first. If you don't know, Bellesa may sound a little bit familiar. First of all, let me tell you that. When they emailed me, I was like, Bellesa. Then it clicked why I knew that name. Bellesa is an incredible company. They are founded by women and they were actually founded here in Montreal. One of my neighbors and friends is friends with Michelle, the owner and founder of Bellesa, which is super cool. And they are I wanna say like sex, pleasure, sex ed, video content, written content, everything sexual wellness company by women for everyone. They're literally an incredible resource. And the reason that I found out about Bellesa was through a friend of mine. She is incredible. And she was doing a school project actually on the orgasm gap and pleasure for women and like quality erotic content. So weird to talk about. Quality erotic content for women, because most of the porn on the internet is made by men for men. It can be extremely degrading to women, extremely toxic. And you know, that's not to kink shame or anything, but it's just a known fact that the majority of the porn industry is not what we would call like a safe space. And so Bellesa is on a mission to change that. And I think it's so amazing that they are a company, like a good ethics company in this space, and also what they're doing for women. I'll speak for myself, and destigmatizing sexual pleasure and enabling sexual pleasure for women. So girls watching, people with vaginas, you know that sexual pleasure is different for you than people with penises. Sometimes it can be harder to have an orgasm. Sometimes things are just trickier, right? A lot of the times if you're with a guy, sometimes it's just easy for them, right? And when I was younger, I so didn't understand that. I so didn't understand sexual pleasure for myself and like what that meant, and like not just about like putting the guy first, but like putting yourself first. And actually over quarantine, while I was alone and single, I learned a lot about that. I was listening to podcasts, I was reading a lot, and it really changed things for me. So what I want to do with my partnership with Bellesa is kind of give you guys a key to unlocking new resources that can help you break any stigmas you may feel with a partner, with yourself, with society, and also give you like tools, physical tools, but also educational tools to learn more about your sexuality, about your pleasure. I just think it's so important. So I've got a few little gifty gifts right here that I want to show you when we're speaking about physical tools. These are some sex toys from Bellesa's online shop. They sent me 3 to try out. The first is this one here called the Pebble. This is in collaboration with BuzzFeed. The next one is also in collaboration with BuzzFeed. This is the Air Vibe. So this one has an inside and an outside function, which is pretty crazy. And the last one here is a wand. This is the Demi wand in collaboration with Demi Lovato, which is super cool. And this one's actually a mini wand. Let me take it out and show you. So the wand is kind of like a classic sex toy. Use it by yourself, use it with couples. I've actually never had one until this one. And if you've ever seen like OG photos of wands, they can be really big, overwhelming, scary. I saw my first one in Sex and the City and I was like, the heck is that? This is not that. This is so tiny and cute. It's like the size of your hand, and this, you turn it on and it vibrates. Look at it go. This is made of silicone, so it's super safe and hygienic. It's really easy to clean. And what I love about Bellesa is all of their toys, let me turn this off. All of their toys come in charging cases. So this is great for two reasons. The first is that it's super discreet if you just have it in your drawer, next to your bed, wherever you want to keep it. I will not judge you. It's super discreet and just blends with your accessories. And you plug this in to charge it so that you don't have like your vibrator just sitting on the floor while you're charging it. You can have it clean, safe, discreet in its case. So all of their products come in a case like this. Air Vibes case looks like that. I have never seen a sex toy company have things come in these discreet cases, nor having it be a charging case. Like, I just think it's groundbreaking. This one's pretty crazy. It actually goes inside and outside, like I said. But I want to spend a little more time telling you guys about my favorite one, which is the Pebble. It is so tiny. It's pink, which is just like so cute. It has a charging case as well. I just can't find it. I don't know where I put it. So I'm gonna have to find it. But anyways, this is a suction one, so you just use it on top. And this is crazy. It's really crazy. Like, take my word for it. If you're not sure what to buy, if it's your first time buying a sex toy, I really recommend this one. It can be a bit overwhelming at first, sex toys and this one. But once you get used to it, you're like, whoa, it's very good. So to help get you guys familiar, I am hosting a giveaway with Bellesa where you can win free vibrators, but everyone who enters will also get a gift card so that you can make your first purchase on Bellesa. They're also having a sale right now and the gift card is compatible with the sale. So I really recommend, click the link down below. You will get a gift card and then you can apply it to the sale. I don't want to put Kamij on blast here, but I think she won't mind. She used her gift card that she got and the sale and ended up saving 50 bucks, which is really good. I find this prices for Bellesa sex toys are very reasonable. Good quality sex toys are expensive, but they are an investment because they just work better, they feel better, they're more clean, they're more hygienic, just all around better. So take advantage, grab a gift card. Maybe you'll also win a free vibrator. That is at the link down below. And this is in honor of what they are calling Masturbation May, which I think is hilarious. So you guys, thank me later. Thank you, Bellesa, for sponsoring this video, and let's get back to the questions. Okay, kind of on the relationship train, okay, I don't know how to pronounce this, sorry, Magmed. What's the most surprising challenge you've encountered in your relationship? That's a really good question. This relationship that I am in is wonderful. And it's my first like adult relationship, meaning I'm not in school. My boyfriend's not in school, like we're both working, and it's actually hard to make quality time together. When you're in school, like, you know, your relationships kind of can be like centered around studying or partying, whatever that may be. But when you're both working and you're both working very hard, like he's super dedicated in his career. I was doing full-time work and YouTube, and now I'm like all in on YouTube, and it's a lot of work. It is a challenge to find like quality time together. And I always used to think that like, oh, like make date night was like lame, because I was like, oh, you should be spontaneous. But like, no, you actually need to make date night, because if you don't plan out quality time together, it just doesn't end up happening. And you need to keep having fun. You need to keep like enjoying each other's company and spending quality time with each other to like develop your relationship and, you know, get the most out of the person that you love. So yeah, that's been the most surprising challenge in this relationship. Another question from MacMed is, how do you feel like your friendships have changed over the years? That's kind of like similar to my answer to the previous question. And that's like, it's just so much harder to make time. Like, again, in school, we were studying together, we were partying together, we were walking to class together. You have breaks in between classes and you shoot the shit. Like, it was just so much easier to spend time with people. Now, like, you're really scheduling time with your friends, and you also kind of have to prioritize who you want to be friends with because you have only a limited amount of time. So like friendships have definitely changed. Like, there's a lot of people I think I was friends with like just because we were in school and just because we had school in common, and now we don't have that in common anymore, so things kind of like fizzle out and it's normal. I think my friendships now have gotten a lot deeper because they're not just centered around school or even work. Like, I'm not in a line of work that any of my friends are in, so our friendships are really based on like matching values and matching interests, and so they're a lot deeper and more meaningful, I find. And then yeah, I have like fewer friends than I used to. From Kaylani, she asks, with this freelance work and YouTube, are you able to earn as much as you used to? So at the moment, I am earning less than I used to, which is scary. It's honestly scary. In the future though, when you are your own boss and you control how much you work, what rate you charge, you have infinite room to make money. Like, I could work 24/7, let's say, and make so much money. But you have more room to earn more income. I'm not there yet. Like, I'm still figuring out my rates for copywriting and like still growing my YouTube channel, but the earning potential I think is pretty big. I did have a big earning potential in my previous field because consulting is like a well-paying field. So I'm making less money now. I do foresee myself making more money in the future. I'm working really hard, and I know it's gonna pay off. But yeah, that's the answer to that. From Hannah, spill some tea on being Canadian. A lot of people in the US wish they were from Canada. So I think this question is really interesting because I get this from YouTube and also just in life. Every couple years or every year lately, when the US is on some crazy shit, no offense, a lot of people are like, oh, I wish I was in Canada. Like, oh, it'd be so great to be Canadian, because our politics just aren't as crazy as you guys is. I've also met, like, when I was in Texas, I was traveling by myself for a portion of that, and so I spoke with like just a lot of people. Like, when you're traveling by yourself, you talk to a lot of people, and I met a lot of people down there who were like, oh my God, you're from Canada. Like, I wish I was from Canada. And the tea on being Canadian, honestly, like, I think it's great. I love being Canadian. I'm proud to be Canadian. Like, just like the US and just like any, I think the word would be like colonialized country, like, we have a dirty history, but overall, like, I'm proud to be Canadian. And yeah, it's like often tied with current events that people ask this question because I don't even know how to like talk about it. For example, when Donald Trump was coming into office, a lot of people were like, oh my God, gotta get to Canada, gotta get to Canada. And yeah, I mean, there's not really any tea. It's just like things are a little bit more stable here. We're also not a country that is in the spotlight as much as the US. Like, the US is arguably the most powerful country in the world, so all eyes are on you. And there's like, anytime something is happening, there's more coverage, there's more news about it, like everybody in the world hears about it. So I guess that's the tea. Something that I've learned over the years is like, I used to think that Canadians were kind of perfect and that I knew we didn't have a spotless past, but I always felt like, oh, like, racism's an American problem. We don't have that problem here. You know, women's rights, that's an American problem. We don't have that problem here, but we do. It's just it doesn't get as much light as these problems in the States, because like I said, we're not as big of like a country. And obviously I am in a privileged position, like not having experienced racism firsthand, so it's easy to think that those kinds of things don't happen here. But with getting more in tune, with learning more, I took some classes in university too that really opened my eyes that we do have similar and the same problems here. We're just like a smaller and less high profile country. My friend Eve asks, who is my girl crush? That is such a good question. The first one that comes to mind is Dua Lipa. I just think she's gorgeous and talented, and like I love her voice. I like her voice singing, her voice in interviews. I feel like she's so cool. I also really like Sydney Sweeney, Zendaya. Yeah, who else? I feel like I have a lot of YouTubers as girl crushes too. Like probably my number one biggest girl crush is Maggie McDonald. Like I've just been obsessed with her for years. And my more recent YouTube girl crush is Rachel Radke. Oh my gosh, this is so funny. Well, okay, 2 questions from Hannah. One is that she asked me again, what do Canadians think of Americans? So it's like similar to the previous question, just in like with the current events going on, like what are we thinking? And obviously I can't speak for everyone, and I can't speak for like every American, but my feeling right now of like, and I'm pretty sure this is all referring to the Roe versus Wade trial, like women's rights being taken away. I think that it's moving backwards. It's moving backwards in time, you know, with all this work that we're doing for like female equality and female like uplifting women, supporting women, believing women. It's just like moving backwards, and it's despicable. So that's what I think of American politics right now, or of that specific situation. But like otherwise, I have friends who are American. I think they're great people. I think Americans are kind of funny sometimes. They're a bit like louder than Canadians on an overall scale. And we get a lot of American tourists here in Montreal because they come from New York and Vermont, and they're very loud. And when I was 18, I used to get hit on by old American dudes, and I didn't like that because I was like, I'm young enough to be your daughter, leave me alone. So the question that made me laugh just now was if I have any pet peeves about followers, and like, of course not. I have a pet peeve about like comments, but about like my followers, you guys, like I could cry with how much I like love you and care about you and appreciate you. But my pet peeve in the comments, this only happens on my personal finance videos, but it's when someone will comment something like judging me or like over explaining something when I spoke about it in the video. Like that drives me crazy. For example, like somebody left a comment being like, oh, like you don't have the right impression of what an emergency fund is because you used it to pay for your dog's vet bill, but that's a routine expense, so like that doesn't categorize as an emergency fund. But in the video, I literally said like it was an unexpected expense because I didn't budget for it being $600. I budgeted for it being $150. So like when I say something in a video and then someone comes in like kind of a judgmental way, like that just bothers me because I'm like, oh, like it's frustrating. We're talking about money. This already stresses me out. And then to get like that, like kind of just bugs me because it's like, I said it in the video, you know? If I don't say something and you ask a question about it, like totally fine. I didn't mention it. Or if it's like, you know, you missed a detail and you're like, oh, can you clarify that? Or like, you know, like obviously I don't expect people to be like taking notes while watching my videos, but when it's like coming from a more negative place, the comment, then that's when it bugs me. But that's just a side effect of the job. Okay, from Gabriela Cruz. What are your thoughts on getting an MBA, and is there any part of your current job that makes you uneasy? What are my thoughts on getting an MBA? I don't think I would do an MBA just because I already have a business undergrad, and from what I've heard about an MBA is the content is actually really, really similar to a business degree. So I would basically be repeating a lot of the same classes, and I didn't love all of my classes, so I don't think I would do it again. If I was working for a company and they wanted to pay for my MBA, totally would do that. If the MBA was the only, like I wanted to go back to school and the only program that would take me was an MBA, I would do that. Maybe I will change my mind and decide one day that like I really want an MBA. I don't know, but at this moment, lately I have been thinking about going back to school, but just not for an MBA. I kind of have this dream of going back to school, doing another undergrad, and just studying something not necessarily practical like a business degree, but something that I like love and am inspired by and can really, really learn about. I think for me that would be something like English literature or creative writing, which is like so different from an MBA. So yeah, lately I've been dreaming more and more about that, because now that I'm not working full time, it's starting to feel like more of a possibility. I would just need to save up for it, and it kind of costs the same as a down payment for a house. So what do I want? I don't know. Part of my job that makes me uneasy, not really, like I feel very confident in what I'm doing right now. I guess the only thing that kind of makes me uneasy is the finances, just because it is super like unstable and in a way unpredictable. That makes me uneasy. But yeah, content wise, like what I'm doing, when I go sit down at the computer, I feel more confident than I ever have before. From Madeline, do you think Montreal is your forever home? There's days that I say yes and there's days that I say no. I think there's definitely some amazing pros to raising a family in Montreal. I love how diverse this city is. I love how much culture there is in this city, how much history there is in Montreal. I don't love the potholes and the winter and the like there's so much about Montreal as well. Sometimes I don't know if I want my kids to be city kids or if I want my kids to be like country kids, you know? Like I just don't know. So I don't know if it's my forever home. From Salash333, wow, love the 333. Do you miss your old job? No, I really don't. Not at all. I was always stressed in that job, and I was always like checking my phone, like feeling like I did something wrong, and like I don't miss that. Just another working mom asks, if you went back to a corporate job, what would you want to do? I think I would want to be like a copywriter. I really love writing. I think like I want to stay in that realm. The job that I was talking about earlier, the job description that I was writing, it was for like a mix of project management and like ad agency stuff. So like coming up with creative briefs for clients. And it just sounded really cool, like coordinating the projects with clients, having a creative input on advertising, whether it was digital or print. Just was like really cool. Something like that I think I would want to do. Something more creative, less like consulting, more creative, I think. But it's really hard to tell, you know? Sometimes I'm like, maybe I could be a lawyer. What if I went back to school and studied law? That'd be crazy. Another question about, actually, I got a lot of questions about like work. So let's talk about those now. From, how did you push through working corporate when you, maybe I shouldn't say her name. From Anonymous, how did you push through working corporate when you hated it, asking for a friend? It's so hard. It's so hard. You gotta have interests outside of work and things to look forward to. So like I had spinning before COVID. I had spinning that I really looked forward to. During COVID, I had like my YouTube channel. Like I had other things to put my energy into that gave me that feeling of like purpose and love and joy and excitement, because work wasn't giving me that. So you've just got to find it elsewhere. And I think when you have it elsewhere, it helps you be more motivated to like put your head down, get your work done, so you can go out and do those things that you love afterwards. And the things that you love don't have to make you money. Like you don't have to if you love pottery, you don't have to make money from doing pottery. Like you can just have those things that you love doing and let those things excite you and give you joy and fulfillment from your life. And you can have just work be the thing that makes you money. Another question from, do you feel pressure to work an 8-hour day to feel productive now that you are self-employed? I thought this question was so interesting because the answer is Abso-fucking-lutely. I really struggle with that. Like, I'm in a privileged position where now I can listen to my body and I can take a mid-afternoon nap if I want to, but I really do feel pressured to like, oh, it's 9 o'clock, gotta sit down at my desk. In a way, that pressure is good because it helps me stick to a schedule that also enables me to be in line with my friends, because my friends work 9 to 5. So it's like, if I want to hang out with them, I can't be working all night because I've slept all day. So in a way it's good. I want that to come from more of a scheduling thing and not a productive thing, because like, who decided that 8 hours was the productive mark? And 8 hours is a long time. Like, man, like when I had to do billing at my consulting job, like it was so hard sometimes to find 8 hours of work to do because I could get things done so fast. And when you like associate your productivity to amount of hours working, it's kind of the opposite of productivity when you think about it, because if you can get something done in an hour, but you're only productive if you did it in 3, well, like, what? You know, you're actually more productive if you get it done faster. So tricky. Question from Poppy. How do you imagine yourself in 5 years from now, personally and professionally? Hard question. Yeah, that is a really hard question, Poppy. In 5 years, I'll be 30, which is crazy. I hope that in 5 years, I would like to be married in 5 years, or like getting married. And I would like to be thinking about kids in 5 years, I think, or thinking about kids, something like that. I think around 30, I would want to move into more of like a family mode. But that could change too. That could change because, 40 is the new 30. That's what they say. So who knows? That's like a personal answer, I guess. And professionally, I really want to still be doing YouTube and doing like some kind of writing or creative work. I really love what I'm doing now, and I just want to keep it up, maybe on like a bigger scale, or just, I don't know, like not bigger necessarily in terms of like 5 million subscribers, like that's crazy, but just like, I would love to be able to have physical products that like I can hold and you guys can hold them, or that I can wear and you can wear, and we can like have more ways of being connected with each other. That's what I mean on like a bigger scale. And like I would love to have my own office somewhere, like a building that I walk into, and like I've got Maggie with me because it's dog friendly, and like we have an office, like Zoe Pritchard headquarters. I feel like that would be so cool. Question from Allie. Hi, Allie. What are you most proud of about yourself? Tricky question. Lately, I'm most proud of how I bounced back from losing my job. I had some savings, but really I pivoted quick, and I pivoted into what I'd been longing to do. And I'm just proud of myself for like honoring that longing, I guess, and like actually believing in myself and taking a chance on myself when it was so scary. And just proud of myself for like getting through that thing that was so scary, which was losing my job. Okay, we're gonna do one last question. We're gonna do 2 more questions. I don't know. Oh my God, there's so many questions. Okay, let's go fast. Charlotte Oseo, changing friend groups, outgrowing BFFs, I have guilt. Such a topical question. I feel like this year I lost a lot of friends. Someone that I was like, it's like so hard to talk about, but somebody that I was absolute best friends with, so my camera either died or overheated because I'm talking so much. I think this is the longest video I've ever filmed like on this camera, and probably ever. We're already at like almost 50 minutes, which is insane. But I do want to do a little bit more questions just to make this like very well-rounded. And I can't leave Charlotte hanging on changing friend groups and outgrowing BFFs. So yeah, like I was about to tell you guys, it's so hard to talk about. Yeah, I mean, I had a best friend. When you're best friends with somebody, like really best friends, you feel like you're gonna be best friends for the rest of your life, and you can feel guilt, sadness, like when things move on from them. And like it's like being in love. Like if you're in love and in a relationship, you might feel like you're gonna feel that way forever, and things change, and it's sad. And so friendships, I think we need to start looking at friendships more like the way we look at romantic relationships, in that it's normal for things to change. It's normal for things not to last forever, and it's okay. I think we accept a lot of shitty behavior from friends that we would never accept from a romantic partner. We hold on to friendships longer than we would hold on to romantic partners for. And just because it's not romantic doesn't mean it's not an important relationship. And so in the same way that you have to do what's best for you with a romantic partner, you have to do the same with friendships. And it's so sad when you feel a friendship starting to fizzle out, or like you look back and you haven't seen that person in like a year and you used to see each other multiple times a week. Like I know firsthand how sad it is. And it's normal to have guilt. And I mean, other than just asking yourself, like, if this is for the best, if it's a silly fight and you can change it and you genuinely want to, then maybe you need to reflect on ways that you can get this person back in your life. But if it's just a natural outgrowing, changing of friend groups, no longer interested in being friends with certain people, you know, maybe like you've been friends with this group of girls for forever, and you just realize that like your interests are no longer aligned, or maybe all they want to do is gossip or party or whatever it may be that's not like aligning with you anymore. Or maybe you want to party and they don't want to, like, whatever it is, it's okay. And you might have guilt, but I think, you know, you just need to reflect on it and cut the guilt if it's unnecessary. Tamaris asked, how do you connect to your Lebanese heritage? So for those of you who don't know, I am half Lebanese. My dad was born in Canada, but both of his parents immigrated from Lebanon. And it's actually kind of sad. Like, as I've gotten older, I realized how out of touch with my heritage I am, and getting older as well, I kind of started to learn why. So my father was born in Canada, and he was born in small town Ontario. And I didn't know this until I was older, but he actually experienced a lot of racism growing up, that basically like caused him to, like, you want to integrate, right? He grew up in like an all-white town. They're the only Lebanese family, or one of the only like Lebanese or even maybe immigrant families. They look different. And yeah, he refused to speak Arabic at home. I don't think any of his siblings speak Arabic, at least not fluently. Like, they just really like assimilated into Canadian culture, which is fine, but then like through the generations you lose that Lebanese culture. And it's interesting because when you look at that, my dad, who grew up in a smaller town, compared to some of my cousins who grew up actually in Ottawa, which is a bigger city and has a very, very prominent Lebanese community, my cousins are way, way, way more in touch with the Lebanese culture, with the language, the food, everything, just the culture overall. I've never been to Lebanon. They've been many, many times. So you can see like where growing up can like have an impact on that. And so because my dad kind of like closed off that part of the culture, and like it didn't get passed down to me, but I am very lucky. Like, one of the ways that we do celebrate our culture is through food, and my grandma is an amazing cook, and so I grew up eating a lot of delicious Lebanese food, so I'm super grateful for that. And as much as I'm not, like, I've had people in the past be like, you're not real Lebanese, or like, there's no way you're Lebanese. I'm still proud. I'm proud to be Lebanese. I don't have my dad's last name. That's why my name doesn't sound, my name's English, Zoe Pritchard, like from England. And my dad has like a more Arabic last name. So yeah, people don't always believe me when I say I'm Lebanese, but I am. I'm proud of it. I wish I could speak Arabic. I wish we were a little more in tune with that culture, but it's just not the case. Okay, we're gonna end on a very fun note. If you could have your dream second home, where would it be? So I thought about this question because I saw it in advance, and I have two answers for you. One answer is how we get there doesn't matter, meaning that I could choose anywhere in the world and it's easy to get to and I can bring my dog, okay? If that's the case, I would say either Australia or Bali. I've been to both of those places and like I could cry about how much I loved it. They're so beautiful, amazing places, most stunning beaches. Like I really feel like I identify, I'm like a beach person. Like to be near the water, to be near the ocean is just like, I think there's nothing better than that. And Bali had some of like the beaches in Australia were nicer than in Bali. At least where I was staying, I was in the very like touristy part where the beaches beautiful, but nothing can compare to Australian beaches. But just like the lushness of Bali, the way you can walk around, like the little scooters, and like, you know, if I'm envisioning my second home, it would be like a villa with a pool and like a lot of big palms around it. And I could totally see that being in Bali. And then yeah, Australia is just an incredible country. I love it so much. I would love to be able to go there whenever I like. But obviously both of those places are really, really difficult to access. It's a long flight. Like, how do I get Maggie there? Like, oh my gosh. So if I do have to consider that, my dream second home location would probably be Florida, just because it is so easy to access. It's a cheap flight. You can drive. So I could like easily get there with my dog, and it's just like way more accessible from here, but you still have the beach, you have Chipotle, Cheesecake Factory. Oh my God, I love Cheesecake Factory. So yeah, that would be my realistic answer would be Florida, and my like ultimate dream would be Bali or Australia. So I'm going to end the video on that fun note. This was such a long one. Comment a cow emoji if you stuck around to the end, if you watched this whole thing. Comment a cow, and yeah, I love you guys so much. Thanks for watching this Q&A. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye.